following installation is for the techniques that will be needed to install a Tour Links bump rail green either indoors or outdoors using pre-cut turf. However, most of the techniques will remain the same if it is decided that cutting the turf on site is preferred. A complete description of cutting the turf will be shown later on in this video manual. Your Tour Links panels and accessories will arrive to your facility on either pallets or individual boxes ready to be unpacked and assembled. Tour Links manufactures 6 different panel designs. Determine the exact location of your putting green and lay out the first row. One of the big challenges for installations on hard surfaces is the creation of undulations. Tour Links has developed a computer-cut styrofoam contour system that makes easy work of creating undulations in nearly any location. Simply assemble the sculpted dome and lock the individual pieces together. Install the panels directly over the contour. Don't worry that the contour is made of styrofoam. The panels will only indent into the styrofoam the slightest bit. When assembling the panels over a severe contour, you will sometimes find that the panels tend to bind a bit. Simply have a helper lift the previous installed panel up slightly to allow for a better angle of attack, and then pull the next panel into position. For outdoor installations, coat the contour with a latex elastomer. This product is used for mobile home roof coating. By coating the foam with this rubbery compound, you will eliminate water absorbing into the contour. Continue to assemble the panels following the design sheet. If you are building the green outdoors, it will be necessary to leave approximately a 1/16 to 1/8 inch gap between the panels. If placing the green indoors, leaving approximately a 1/16 of an inch between the panels is adequate. When outdoors, the gap that you are leaving between the panels is to ensure that we are leaving enough room for expansion and contraction. Do not try to push or force the panels into position. The proper technique is to pull the panels into place. The interlocking teeth are designed to have the panels converge at a 45-degree angle, so the best position is to kneel on the already assembled panels and pull the next piece directly into place. By following this technique, you will find the panel installation to be very easy. Once you have this technique mastered, it will take at least 2 helpers providing panels to keep up with 1 installer. When you come to a point in the design that requires an ICC cup panel, be certain that the cup is located in the exact location in your design. The ICC panels allow for the cup to be located in 4 different spots. Be certain that you have positioned the cup properly, especially if using pre-cut turf. In the design sheets, we always draw the cups pushed into the corner of that cup panel. We do this to avoid any confusion. If you make a mistake and position the cups improperly and are using pre-cut turf, your only option is to disassemble the green, spin the cup into the proper location, and start rebuilding. Once the green is assembled, take one more look at the design sheet and be certain that all the panels are assembled correctly. Make sure at this point that you have left the proper amount of gap between every panel. It's now time to insert the cup filler plates into any hole that will not be receiving a cup. The cup filler plates and cups are installed by simply dropping them into the panels and twisting, and they will effectively lock into position. Install the Tour Links floating cups in all ICC panels or any other panel that is designed to receive a cup. Install the cup deck washer around the cup by applying the 3 pieces of double stick tape and dropping the deck washer into the slate detent that surrounds the cup. This deck washer ensures that the turf does not distort around the hole. You will notice that the cup has the ability to move in all directions. This movement ensures that the cup will stay in the exact position during any expansion and contraction of the turf. The filler plates do not receive the deck washers. When assembling panels over a contour area, it's a good idea to run your hand over the panels to make sure the transition from panel to panel feels smooth. If not, add a few screws in this area to ensure that the teeth are in line. It does not need to be perfect. The turf will not show any inconsistencies of the panels. However, if the transition between panels seems to be a bit extreme, then a quick pass with a belt sander will smooth out any problem area. It's It's important that you allow the fibers of the turf to relax in the sun prior to installation. Unroll the turf onto the panels. In this installation, the turf was computer cut. Position the putting turf onto the panels and line up all of the holes. This is exactly how it was cut on the computer and is how it should be reassembled. You want each cup to be as near to the center of the hole in the panel as possible. In this installation, the fringe was also pre-computer cut. Position the individual pieces of fringe around the putting turf until you have acquired the proper fit. It's much like assembling a big jigsaw puzzle, and it may be necessary to slide your panels in or out in order to achieve the proper fit. This is why we have designed a certain amount of adjustability in the panels. Try to position the turf so there is approximately 1/16 of an inch gap around the bump rail. There are many techniques for seaming turf, but one that we have found that works quite well is the use of roof and gutter flashing tape. This tar-based tape makes easy work of seaming the fringe to the putting turf. Of course, traditional techniques such as glue and fabric seaming cloth are certainly acceptable. It's just that the tar tape is an instantaneous seam and holds very well in most all conditions. Now carefully roll one piece of fringe back onto itself. Slip a 24-inch piece of tar tape halfway under the putting turf. When installing on a cold day or indoors, it will be necessary to use a heat gun to warm up the tar for maximum adhesion. Carefully unroll the piece of fringe back into position up against the putting turf, essentially marrying the fibers together. You want to have virtually no gap between the putting turf and the fringe. Continue this technique all the way around the perimeter of the green. Seam the individual pieces of fringe together in the same exact manner. You have now attached the fringe and the putting turf into one complete piece. Once you are happy with the fit of the turf and the fringe, slide it out of the way and you're now ready to install the fasteners. The panels are designed to accept a self-tapping screw and washer. We are only going to put fasteners around the outer perimeter of the green, essentially locking the outer ring of panels into place. Do not over-tighten the screws. Actually, back them off about a quarter turn to allow the panels free movement during expansion and contraction. Slide the seamed fringe and putting turf back onto the panels for final assembly. This next step may not be necessary for all installations, but to ensure that the turf stays in place in high wind environments or high traffic areas, a few stainless steel screws or galvanized nails can be inserted through the turf and into the panels. We would prefer not to see the turf anchored, but if necessary, use this method. Attach the turf to the panels as close to the bump rails as you can. We have designed a bump rail seam clip that can be installed over every panel to hide the seams. Simply snap the clip in place for a finished look. A quick vacuum of the turf and wiping down the panels with a product such as Armor All or a black bumper dressing is all that's left to be done.